Thank you for CCPU for this invitation. And welcome, everyone. I am just glad that you are here and have an opportunity in this month of mental health. May is Mental Health Awareness Month to have some time to focus on you. So, without further ado, I'm going to get started with the presentation in the session. So again, this is entitled Dimensions of Cultural and Spiritual Wellness as Pedagogy for Educators. Let me make sure my slides. And thank you for giving my bio, Xavier. I appreciate it. I'm just going to say that I love being an educator. I currently am an educator for the ages 4 through the ages 85. So my youngest student is 4 years old as 2 weekends out of the month I teach in a community independent school. And then I'm a college professor. And so I run the gamut of the age groups. My experience has also been in special needs as a behavior therapist and so on and so forth. So I love teaching and being able to educate and nurture. It's just embedded in who I am. So let's get started. First, I'm going to invite all of you, wherever you are, to just take a deep breath in and take a deep breath out. And we're going to do this 2 more times just to center ourselves. And one more breath in and a deep breath out. And last time, a deep breath in and a deep breath out. So starting with this session, starting with cultural wellness. Cultural wellness is respecting and embracing diverse cultural identities and appreciating cultural philosophies which contribute to individuals and communities. I believe it's important to think about cultural wellness as we think about the diversity of which we live, especially being in California, and how diversity tends to be a buzzword or a trend sometimes, but the necessity of seeing it as intentional. And what does it mean to have a culturally classroom or daycare or session that is well and that appreciates the philosophies that come from the cultural backgrounds of the communities of the students that we service, but as well as ourselves as educators. I am a Black woman who has colleagues who are of Asian descent and who are of Vietnamese descent and who are of El Salvadorian descent, and just a plethora. And what does it mean to be able to work with each other while still bringing myself and who I am at the forefront of being an educator? And so cultural wellness in educators means to teach from a standpoint that honors the difference in culture from a respectful manner. This is not to get into a debate of which culture is better or not, but no, we appreciate the difference because we are able to learn from one another. And I bring something different that is able to help another colleague or a student and how I'm bringing myself into the classroom. And so cultural wellness means to respect the culture of the educator as well and bring it to the classroom. And for this, I stress respecting the culture of the educator because oftentimes in these spaces, the focus is on the student. What are we doing for the student and the children? But educators experience burnout. Educators are in the environment as well, and we carry a mental and emotional load. And so it's important that we and who we are and the essence of who we are is respected as well. Which brings us also to spiritual wellness for educators. Spiritual wellness encompasses all aspects of well-being pertaining to the search for purpose and meaning of life. And this is crucial as educators because education and providing childcare and being nurturers is also a spiritual exchange. And we often put our entire being into what we do. We um we call the students ours, right? Even if we're not their parents, they are our kids. And there's something bonded with that. And so we need to be well spiritually as well. We need to know, especially since for many, many, many of us, this is our passion. We have gone to school for this. We are not getting paid enough to do this, right? We put our money into this. We put the entirety of who we are into this. And so, how are we well? And so being well as an educator is also to foster an environment that cares for the soul of an educator. As an educator who engages in holistic wellness as pedagogy, I am interested in how do we as providers and educators take care of who we are. When we take care of who we are practicing cultural and spiritual wellness. Because when we look and engage in many cultures, rest is at the beginning of it. Wellness is at the beginning of it in order to be able to be in purpose in the stations that we keep. So one area is boundaries. And this oftentimes when I am doing these sessions, boundaries is like, oh no, that's so hard. Oh man, it's not a word to cringe at. We can actually be excited about boundaries because boundaries allow us to function at our optimal space in service to ourselves and others. Boundaries allow us to not become burnt out or to prevent it as much as possible. So, an example for a boundary is this. I'm an educator, and my students call me Auntie Mama. They call me Professor Auntie Mama, and they know that I got their back. Like they know. My students also know that if I am in a chair in our resource center and if my phone is turned sideways like this and I have pulled my feet up, they know not to bother me. They know that I am mentally in Senegal or Bahamas at the beach, and I am playing a game on my phone and I am disconnecting. And they literally will wait. They'll be like, oh, nope, she's not here right now. She'll come back and let us know when she's ready, when she has the capacity to speak with us. And this became very important when I thought about my high school teacher. I had a high school teacher who she would allow us to be in her classroom for lunch. But twice a week we couldn't be in her classroom for lunch. She would close it. And it wasn't because she didn't love us anymore, but she needed to be able to have the capacity to make it through the school year, especially since she was an educator where just because it was summer, it didn't mean that she was off. Many teachers pick up second jobs or they teach summer school. So how do we take care of ourselves when we're not necessarily going on a 7-day vacation all the time, right? Another way to foster spiritual wellness for educators is to rest. And I know that this is not always the easiest because our minds go. We have lessons planning. Did they meet their objectives? Did the student that we care about who goes home hungry, did they get enough? Did we have enough in the snack pantry. All of these things happen. The parents, right? Sometimes we get invested in the parents, or the parents got on our nerves, different things. And so being able to give yourself permission to rest is spiritually nourishing for you, right? It is, and this doesn't always equate to sleep, but this does mean taking a pause to allow yourself some stillness. Even if it's, I'm going to take an extra 30 seconds in the bathroom today, or I'm going to take a, a longer shower. It's going to be 5 minutes extra so I can just be to myself. You know what? I am going to enjoy the chocolate chip cookie dough ice cream that they tell me not to eat at midnight, but I'm going to have it anyway because it makes me feel good. And this all begins to be part of our rest and having spiritual wellness because we're doing something that feeds our souls. Another way is meditation. Meditation is a way to be in the present moment. You are able to, yes, no problem. I will go a bit slower. I got you, Naomi. Let me know if you need me to go a little bit slower. I get excited about this topic and I start to talk faster. So thank you. Um, So meditation, right? Being able to have moments of stillness and just to breathe, just like we did at the beginning of this session, taking a deep breath in and taking a deep breath out. And you can start doing this for 15 seconds and build up to 30 seconds. You can start at a minute. A lot of times when we think about these practices, we think that we have to be perfect in them, and we don't. We have a baseline, and that is okay. Oftentimes in meditation, our mind begins to have thoughts, and that's okay. When we meditate, when we pause and begin to just breathe, our brain is able to think, and we just let the thought pass. Got you, no problem. I'm glad this is a good pace. And let the thought pass. Because when we let the thought pass, as we are slowly breathing, we are giving our heart, our mind, our body, our soul permission to process. And this is important because studies show that educators are beginning to develop autoimmune diseases at a higher rate than the rest of the population. And part of this is because we make so many decisions during the day. We're being pulled on in so many directions that we are not able to slow down and let our body process, let our mind think. And so fostering a space of spiritual wellness as educators that implement boundaries and rest and meditation, or if you pray, allows for this to happen. And when this happens, your cells in your body, like on a cellular level, actually begin to heal themselves as well. Okay, gonna go to the next slide. So how else can we do this in terms of a daily routine or in terms of practice, right? So the soul of a teacher, practices to foster wellness in educators. Again, I'm interested in the well-being of educators. I'm not dismissing our students and those who we service, but sometimes we need to prioritize ourselves so that we can stay sane. So one way is begin your day with wellness. What does this look like? Um, I set my alarm about 20 to 30 minutes earlier than I really need to get up. That way I can lay in bed an extra 20 minutes to 30 minutes and not feel bad about it. And it's quiet. Um, I am an introvert who has 200 students. And so I need some quiet to re to boot, right? I need to ease into my day. Right? My family talks about me because they're like, you're so quiet in the morning and you just don't talk until you've had your coffee. And I'm like, yes, because I need to begin my day well, right? Like my dog does not ask to go on a walk until 30 minutes after I've been awake, right? So that I can be okay. I also, before my cup of coffee, and this was really hard for me to implement, but before I have my cup of coffee, I have room temperature water. When we have ice cold water in the morning or a hot drink in the morning, it actually shocks our nervous system and it puts us into a fight, flight, or freeze mode. So automatically our body is in a state of anxiety if we are not, if we have ice cold water or like a really hot drink to start off our day. So room temperature water allows your body and your nervous system to wake up in a way that feels safe. Another reason I encourage educators and teachers to start their day with room temperature water is because we do a lot of talking, right? We answer questions, we teach, then we have meetings and professional development. Some of us talk to our coworkers during lunch. We have to talk to parents and administrators and all of these things. And so room temperature water allows us to actually protect our vocal cords. And this becomes important because I don't know about you, but early on in my teaching career, I have been an educator for 15 years now, in higher ed as a professor for 12. But early on, I used to lose my voice all the time, and I couldn't figure out why. Implementing room temperature water helped to protect my vocal cords and keep me at an even pace. Meditation, again, sit with yourself, even if it's 30 seconds, a minute, 5 minutes, but begin your day and have some time to just check in with yourself. How am I feeling today? Do I need to be in preservation mode today, or can I go all out? What is the best that I'm able to give today? Um, I sometimes, or oftentimes, depending on the weather, get dizzy. And so as I don't know if you can tell, I talk with my hands. When I'm in the classroom, I move around. Um, my students have seen me do squats while teaching, right? Depending on the age groups, we're doing anything that we can to make sure the attention is on us and we're keeping our students safe. But sometimes I can't do that. Sometimes I have to teach from the chair, and that's okay. I have to check in with myself and see what kind of day it is that it's going to be. Or some of you might be like, you know what? I love my students, but today, as soon as the bell rings, I'm going to make sure they get to their place. And then I need to close my door for a few minutes. I know they're used to me being able to talk to them about whatever it is that interests them, but not today. And that's okay. So take a moment, talk to yourself, quiet your mind, and allow yourself to begin your day with breathing. And then stretch. Um, Stretching keeps us flexible. Stretch. So a lot of times I'll stretch my arms, I'll stretch my legs, just so that my body knows that I care about it. And this begins to tell your soul and your spirit that you care about yourself. As much as we care about our students and their community and everything, we need to take care of ourselves, care about ourselves more so that we can pour from ourselves. And so stretching is a good way to do this because it allows you to take time with your body. Many cultures talk about how we are spiritual beings having a physical experience, and our physical bodies are vessels. But it's the only physical vessel that we have, so let's take care of it. And so a quick stretch really goes a long way. It keeps you limber. It keeps you able to walk and to teach and to do what we need to do throughout our day. Again, we're going to mention boundaries again. Take your lunch. Take your lunch. You must eat. You must let not have your body eating itself. So take your lunch. Oftentimes, food becomes a way for us to know our emotional and spiritual state. You find yourself craving sweets more often than not, it may be time to check in with yourself and be like, oh, I think I need to love on myself today. Carbs might be feeling stressed, right? And so you're trying to comfort yourself. When we take our lunch on a regular basis, we then are able to regulate our emotions better, especially when we are doing a healthy lunch. I am not a wellness coach who's going to say, become completely plant-based. I'm not. I am 90% plant-based. But that 10%, we're real good friends. I am still going to have my burger and my lamb and my pizza, right? I love to make gumbo. I love tacos. Um, I love it. And so part of the way that I take care of myself is I experience and have the food that I want to have on a regular basis as long as I portion. And this ties into cultural and spiritual wellness as well, because again, we're bringing ourselves and who we are. We should not have to um, worry about what we're having for lunch and is it acceptable. Bring your lunch, right? If it's pozole, bring some pozole. If it's lumpia and empanadas and some pancit, bring it, right? Because it's part of who you are. And we don't want to have a mask when we are educators. Take walks during the day to the best of your ability. Oftentimes, my students know that I'm going to take a walk. Sometimes they come with me and we talk, and sometimes they're not allowed to come with me, and it's for me. And I'm going to call my sister on the phone, or I'm just going to breathe, but take walks. So one, some of us are not able to get to the gym as much as we want. And so walking becomes our exercise. And a benefit to walking is that it actually targets all of your muscles from head to toe when you're walking. And so it is a healthy way to move. This helps your digestive system, which oftentimes means take your walk as part of your lunch, right? But it keeps you moving. And when you walk, especially if you're walking by yourself and using it as a way to breathe, again, now your body is able to calm down while your heart rate is able to stay at a healthy place. And then take help. In my practice, I have found that oftentimes it's difficult for educators to accept help because we're so used to being the lesson planner, making the decisions, so on and so forth. And we want help, but we don't always know how to accept help. But if we accept help, what happens is we are able to prevent burnout. We are able to take the people who help us take something off of our mental load. And that is healthy and that is good. On a cultural level within society, it is actually better for us to be interdependent, meaning we work with each other and help each other in order to be a healthy society. And that reigns true in the education system as well. I just told y'all a little while ago that I tend to get dizzy sometimes. And in the past year and a half, 2 years, it was worse. And when I had to just kind of sit down and think about how I was engaging in wellness, I realized that I wasn't accepting help as much. And so a couple months ago, when I started accepting help more often, a lot of the dizziness was able to be reduced. So let's accept help when we can. It'll help us out as educators. And so now, Loie, I'm going to ask you to open the chat. And I have a question for you all. What are 3 things that bring you joy? If you can type your 3 things in the chat, please. What are 3 things that bring you joy? For example, for me, the ocean. In case you couldn't tell by my background, I love the ocean, right? Grandchildren, eating, hiking, dancing. I see God, I see shopping, I see reading, children, sleep, I see kayaking, walking, relaxing, clients, reading the Bible, affirmations. I see dancing, water, going to the park, a moment of silence, going to a massage. These are great answers. Your students, yes. Fishing, there's one I was looking for one I hadn't seen yet. I love it. Zumba, yes, keep it going. And so the next question is, how often do you engage in these 3 activities? Is it every day, weekly, monthly, quarterly, yearly? How often do you engage in those 3 activities? Go ahead and just put your one word answer in the chat as well. Just put daily, weekly, whichever one it is for you. Okay, I'm seeing daily, right? I'm seeing this. All right, I'm going to say, just go ahead and put in your answer for about 10 more seconds before we close the chat. Playing the open game, but first of all, God gives joy. Yes, weekly, family, monthly. Sometimes. It's okay if it's sometimes. It's even okay if you can't remember the last time you did it. This is just for us to take a stock, right? Okay, and we're gonna close the chat in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. We're gonna go ahead and close this chat. Thank you, Loli. Good. This is great. I hope that even just typing the things that give you joy cause you to smile, right? I hope that it was able to bring a moment of peace, right? It was so beautiful to see how you all were answering what it is for you, right? Yes, some of it is your children. Yes, for some you said praying, some said God, some said hiking and kayaking, some said reading. I love whoever said shopping. I think if I remember correctly, I saw makeup in there. I saw reading. That's good. That's able to remind you of the things that give you joy. And then seeing your answers, look at how many of you all were able to say that, yes, you do ensure that you do something that brings you joy daily and quarterly. And that's good because if we're being honest, for some of the things we do have to engage in it yearly, right? We have to manage PTO and vacation time and family obligations and things. So some things we can only do yearly, but some things we can do every day. Some things we can do weekly. How do we take advantage of our weekend so that our weekend brings us joy while we also rest? And I do see in there, when you're a child care provider, and so especially if you do like daycare, so it's harder to just be able to disengage because you're with the who you're providing services for the entire day. But I hope that it also allows us to think about, okay, well, how can we even incorporate a minute or two during nap time? Or how can we enjoy our lunch even when we are with and going from there and thinking about these things? Because remember that joy is your birthright. Are a human being who has a right, who has a cultural, spiritual, human right to engage in joy. And so embrace your joy. There's a song, and the lyrics say, "This joy I have, the world didn't give it, the world can't take it away." Right? And there's other lyrics to the songs. They change it from peace, to love. The world didn't give it, the world can't take it away. And so when you think about your own wellness, this is something that can't be taken from you. No matter what's going on in the education system and the political climate, all of these things, joy is your birthright. Embrace your joy. Find those nuggets. Find those moments every day, weekly, monthly, quarterly, yearly, because you deserve it. And it's your right. and I bring it back to rest. Rest is to restore and refresh. You deserve to rest. You deserve to be able to pause and honor stillness. Oftentimes, we're told that we have to be busy, busy, busy. And if we're not moving, then we're not providing the service or we're not teaching correctly. And if we're not teaching, we should be lesson planning and we should be developing curriculum and we should be thinking about the benchmarks and we should be taking another continuing CEU, continuing education unit. We're always told to be doing something, doing something, doing something, but our bodies, our souls, our spirits ask for rest. In every culture that I've studied, I'm an Africana Studies professor, but I've also taught in Asian Pacific Islander Studies, Indigenous Studies, Chicano Studies, Latinx Studies, and women and gender studies. And in every culture that I've studied and taught about, and thinking about all of the spiritual belief systems that I have researched, and I've researched about 20 spiritual belief systems between the Caribbean and Latin America, the continent of Africa, and Britain and Mexico. What I have found is that in every single one, rest has been a critical foundation of the culture and spiritual belief. Every single one has had rest as the beginning of productivity and how rest is necessary to honor your humanity. When we rest and honor our humanity and just breathe, we are doing more for ourselves than 5 minutes of running, right? Than 10 minutes of lifting weights, because even athletes must rest. There's a season of rest. And so, as childcare providers, as the ones who form minds and who teach and who nurture these precious lives, we must rest as well and honor our humanity and know that it's okay to do so. And finally, affirmations. Affirmations. I am student. Um, this is, I believe, crucial. How we talk to ourselves as educators. Because I don't know about you all, but oftentimes I feel like there's almost like this wall or this battle against child care providers and educators, and there's so much chatter. I don't know if you all are on TikTok and Instagram and Facebook and whatever the social media platform is, LinkedIn. I don't know who still got a MySpace, right? But what I have found is so much commentary on what educators are not doing, what child care providers are lacking in, what they should be doing, and it almost feels like a disdain sometimes. And so sometimes we need to talk to ourselves and remind ourselves of who we are. Sometimes we might have a bad day and we need to make sure that that does not become part of our identity. And so affirmations. I typed out three, right? One, I am worthy of respect. Even before your title of childcare provider, teacher, educator, you are worthy of respect as a human being. The fact that you exist means you are worthy of respect. So I am worthy of respect. Two, I honor my time. Time is so precious and time is so valuable. We see this as we plan our day, as we plan the routine for the services we provide to families. Time becomes crucial. We really, really look at the time when it's time to go, when the work shift has ended, so we can go home to our children and our grandchildren and find our joyful activities. But sometimes we have a harder time. And so I encourage childcare providers and educators to say, I honor my time as a reminder that your time is precious. And then finally, I am an educator because you are. As a provider, you are teaching as you nurture and as you make sure they're okay. For those in the classroom, you are educating, and we educate so much more than the material. So much more than teaching to tie their shoe and teaching how to use scissors and teaching history and Spanish and English and music and all of the the requirements of being teachers, because we also model self-respect. We also teach respect for others. We also teach how to relate and socialize. There is so much with becoming an educator. I remember about 2 months ago, I was with one of I call my college students, my kids, my babies, and I call my other students, my 4 years old through 13-year-old students, I call them my littles. So I was with my littles, and one who has been in the foster care system and is now adopted, he came up to me and he was like, Miss TJ, I have big feelings and I can feel them in my body. And I just kind of looked at him and he was like, I know this isn't part of the lesson, but what do I do? And I share that because oftentimes that's what we do. At the end of the day, like, we are fostering and teaching children beyond the material. And our role as educators become so much more. And so we should be able to say this with joy and with pride and with passion, because our purpose is so great. And so I encourage all of you on this webinar, every single one of you, all 336 of you, to think about some affirmations for yourself. In addition to, I am worthy of respect, I honor my time, and I am an educator. What are some other ones that you have within your capacity on this earth? One of my main ones right now is I am capable. Because for me, I am capable means I am capable to rest. I am capable to read my books. I am capable to go to the beach. and I am capable to teach. I love that we are able to find affirmations that speak to who we are and who we want to be. And I hope that each of you are able to do this as well. So, with that, thank you. Thank you for allowing me to take some time and pour into you because what you do is invaluable and is so appreciated. Um, in this time, I hope that you are able to remember what brings you joy and implement your joy. If you feel like you're not implementing it enough, I hope that this encourages you to. If you thought that you weren't doing things right and you realize, oh, wait, I do this and I have it pretty down packed. Hey, that is awesome for you. I love that for you, and I hope that you keep going. But let's remember that as much as we talk about the students and the children that we provide services for, as much as we talk about the wellness and their well-being, we got to take care of ours as well. Let's prevent what we can prevent and keep in control what we can keep in control so that we can be well and have a fulfilled life. So thank you so much, and I hope you have a good evening.